A lot of women feel threatened by women who are confident. They're like, why? What does she think she is? Like, why does she think she's so bold? Look, if you have experienced this, put it in the comment section, because I know there are people who have experienced this, or even who are even experiencing this. Like, there are women who feel like, why? You're too much. You're just too much. Why are you so bold? Why do you think? Why do you think that? Why are you trying to? They just feel like this. You're just too much, and they expect you to shrink because they feel threatened by your confidence. They feel threatened by your attractiveness. Hi, lovelies. Welcome back to another episode of Life Lessons with Law. My name is Lauretta Gerard, and as you know, on this space, we like to have open, honest, authentic, heart-to-heart conversations on everything pertaining to love, life, faith, and womanhood. So, if this is your first time listening to the podcast, you're most welcome. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you are a returning listener or subscriber, big hug. Thank you so much for choosing to hang out with me today. All right, today I'm talking about something interesting, the curse of the pretty girl. And I know it seems like a very dramatic topic. I mean, the curse. But I was just thinking about it, and I thought, this is something that I think is under discussed. And I think that, we really need to begin to shed light on these things. And they expose, deeper problems, and you see as we chat through it. But what is the curse of the pretty girl? Now, if you are an attractive woman watching this, or maybe an attractive man watching this, some of the things that I'll be sharing with you, you might be able to relate with, because it's actually a thing. But of course, I can't speak for the men, so I'm speaking about the women. Anyway, so one thing that I've realized is that if you're an attractive person, specifically an attractive woman, there's a way society tends to view you. And by attractive, I mean, of course, if you're good looking, or if you're like above average, beautiful, there's a way society tends to view you, and there's a way that people treat you. I know that pretty privilege, there's something called pretty privilege, and it's a thing, to be honest. I think I heard somewhere somebody said that people who are attractive tend to be perceived as better leaders. So the more attractive you are, the more people think that you would make a great leader, right? So pretty privilege is a thing, and I'm going to talk about that in a bit, because there's this notion and this impression that if you are beautiful, you're automatically a good person. Right? So that's pretty privilege, and I'll talk about it in a bit. But there's another side to being attractive that we rarely talk about. And I'll tell you something that I observed as I was growing up. And this is, something that happened to me quite a lot as I was growing up as a young woman. When I was in my teenage years, I realized that there were times when I would step into rooms, especially places with women, and there would be this shift in the energy. And I noticed that with women who were also beautiful as well. Like when you step into a room as an attractive woman, there tends to be this energy with the people around you where they kind of feel threatened by your presence. It's unspoken, but you see it. There is just this, and look, if you've experienced this in your life, put it in the comment section, because I don't want it to seem like I'm the only one who has experienced this. Like, as a lady, if this has happened to you multiple times, maybe when you were growing up, put it in the comment section. Like, maybe there's a party or a function or an event, and you walk into that place, you can almost feel the energy where the other ladies kind of feel threatened by you, because, in all sincerity, maybe because you are more attractive than they are, or you're more beautiful than they are, or you have this aura, you have this thing about you that is just attractive, right? Because they kind of feel like you have come to steal their thunder. They feel like you have come to steal their thunder. They feel like now will be all the men will be looking at you instead of looking at them, right? So there's just this envy that happens in social situations when there is an attractive woman in there. The other women there feel like she's a threat, and it's evident in the way that they treat you. It's evident in the way that they look at you. Many of them might not even want to engage with you or talk to you. And I went through that, a lot of times in my my younger years. I'm still young. but but yeah, I've experienced that a couple of times. So it's actually a thing. There's such a thing called the curse of the pretty girl. Just letting you know. Right? And when I think about it, I think that especially as an African, it happens a lot as an African. Well, I can't speak for other races, but it happens a lot as an African girl. Because, and what I've observed is that a lot of African women are raised in a way that you see other women as your competition. And so because of that, when there's another woman that is maybe more attractive than you are, or more beautiful than you are, or maybe a lot more sophisticated than you are, you tend to feel more threatened. You tend to feel threatened by her presence because you think that she's coming to take away the male attention, right? And that's because a lot of African girls have been made to feel like their world should their world should be centered on male attention. Like male attention is like the core of their existence. So their worth is measured by how much attention you get from men. So that's why, they tend to feel threatened when there's another woman in the picture that is more attractive than they are, because they have not been taught that their sense of self-worth should not be from male attention. It should not be centered, or it should not revolve around a man or around a man's attention, right? But that's a thing that happens a lot to pretty women. They tend to be envied. People tend to, and this happened to me, like even when I was in secondary school. I'll give you an example. When I was in secondary school, there were these people that sometimes we'll be walking together side by side, and they'll be like, Lauretta, don't walk with me, like you make me look bad. And I'm like, how do I make you look bad? And they're like, look, when I'm around you, I feel short. Like when I'm around you, I feel like, because you're taller, when I'm around you, I feel short, and I feel like, some people actually said that to me. Some of them actually said that to me, like, guys will not talk to me if I'm walking with you, so don't come close to me. Like, there are people who would not want to walk with me, or who would not want to be friends with me, because they felt like I would take the attention of the guys that they were, eyeing from them. But innocent me, right? I wasn't trying to snatch anybody. Like, funnily, I did not even see myself at that time as attractive. Like, I was struggling with serious low self-esteem at that time. But yeah, a lot of these girls felt threatened, right? And that still happens even until today. Like, if you're beautiful, why can't I pronounce beautiful? If you're beautiful and bold and confident, a lot of women feel threatened by that. A lot of women, and not just even being physically attractive, like a lot of women feel threatened by women who are confident. They're like, why? What does she think she is? Like, why does she think she's so bold? Look, if you have experienced this, put it in the comment section, because I know there are people who have experienced this, or who are even experiencing this. Like, there are women who feel like, why? You're too much. You're just too much. Why are you so bold? Why do you think that? Why are you trying to? They just feel like you're just too much, and they expect you to shrink because they feel threatened by your confidence. They feel threatened by your attractiveness. They feel threatened. They feel like you are trying to steal their shine. And if you are listening to this and you're one of those women who feels threatened by another woman's beauty or her confidence, I need you to listen to what I'm about to say to you. You need to work on yourself. You need to heal. You need to see yourself as worthy. It's not another woman's fault that you feel bad about yourself. There is something broken on inside you that you need to fix ASAP. You need to go sit, do some inner work. You need to begin to rebuild that self-esteem. Whatever it is that shattered it, you need to begin to put those pieces together. Another woman's light doesn't dim yours. Another woman doesn't need to shrink for you to feel comfortable. Another woman's light doesn't need to go dark so that yours can shine. If you feel that way about another woman, something is wrong on the inside and you need to fix that. Okay? This, again, I've said this like 10,000 times. I feel like in the past 4 videos I've been saying, the sky is wide enough for everybody to shine. Beauty will always be in the eye of the beholder. You are beautiful. Why am I saying beautiful? Like I suddenly cannot pronounce beautiful. My Jesus. Like, anyway, you're beautiful as you are. You are beautiful. Of course, nobody can be the most beautiful on the planet. Where your beauty stops, another person's beauty is just starting. And you know what they say? Even the most beautiful ones are even still yet to be born. So, look beyond the person's physical appearance. Look beyond that. It's not just about a person's beauty. And you are more than what you look like. So even if you might not be quote and unquote as attractive as, the media thinks an attractive person should be, there is more to you than your physicality. All right. I just thought I should throw that in. And another thing that I think is also a contributor to this curse of the pretty girl is people tend to think that attractive people are stupid or shallow or superficial. I can't tell you how many times, before now that I've had people even when I was single, in my single years, which wasn't too long ago, when I was single, I'll talk to guys and they'll be marveled. They did not expect me to be sensible. They did not expect me to be able to hold intelligent conversations because they thought that every beautiful person is dumb. Because there was just this thing that they just had this notion, this impression that as a pretty girl, most pretty girls don't have sense because they're just too wrapped up in their beauty. They're just too, they just feel like they can get anything they want simply because of their beauty. So they only invest on the outside and don't invest on the inside. So a lot of people then, I would interact with a lot of guys and they'll be like, I'm surprised that you are this intelligent. I did not expect this kind of intelligence from an attractive woman. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're talking about. So because I'm good looking on the outside, I should be stupid on the inside. But you see, that's just a myth. It's funny to think that just because a person is beautiful doesn't mean it means that they're also not beautiful on the inside, right? There's also this belief that people who are attractive on the outside have a stinky character. Because again, they only worry about their outside. They only worry about what's on the outside. They don't care much about what's on the inside. And I'm like, that's a wrong impression to have, and that's a dangerous stereotype to have about people who are good looking, because there are a lot of good looking people who are even more attractive because of what is on their inside. They're actually really good, genuine people, but because of that stereotype of superficiality, because of that stereotype that attractive people might have, a bad character, people tend to you tend to have people not wanting to get close to you because they feel like, this person is fine. This person is good looking. If you get bad character, that's pigeon. If you get bad character, it's possible that character is not good. But it's not like that. Some people recognize the importance of investing on your inside, right? And we also understand that beauty is vain. So we understand that beauty fades, right? And old age will catch up with everybody. So you have to be willing to invest in things that will last. So if you're just simply investing in your physical looks while negating or relegating what your inside, or relegating your inside, to the background, and not investing even much more on what's on the inside, you will have nothing to offer than your beauty. And a point will come in life when your beauty will not be enough. Your beauty will no longer, because the beauty will not be there anymore, as much. Like when you get older, in the winter season of your life, your beauty might not be able to get you much anymore. So it's what's on the inside that will begin to produce fruit for you, right? And some of us also realize that the fact that you're beautiful doesn't mean that you should treat people with disdain and disrespect. The fact that you're good looking is not an excuse to be rude to people and treat them like they're nothing. To me, it doesn't make sense. Like, why should you be rude and unkind to people simply because you're fine? That's a crazy and nonsensical ideology to have. Makes no sense to me. Right? So yeah, there's that notion of beautiful people being highly superficial and having nothing in their brain and nothing in their hearts. Another thing that contributes to this curse of the pretty girl is that when you're attractive and good looking, people tend to over sexualize you and objectify you. There's a chance that people don't see you beyond just somebody that is, attractive, and they just try to objectify you, especially with the opposite gender, with the men. They don't see beyond, and a lot of times they don't want to see beyond what you look like on the inside. All they see is your exterior. So it's hard to know when someone really cares about you, or if they just like you because you're attractive. And a lot of beautiful women face that. I've heard women say things like, I don't think this guy likes me. I think he just likes my body. I just think that he likes that I'm an eye candy. He likes that, when he goes out with me, people hail him. It's a boost. It's an ego boost to him because I'm attractive. I don't really think he likes me as a person. And that can be tricky for women who are attractive, because they're thinking, what if something happens and I'm not looking beautiful? What happens then? Do you like me for who I am? Do you love who I am? Or do you love me simply because I look good? Those are two different things. Like, do you like me? Liking someone for who they are means that if you just like who they are as a person, and the beauty is just the icing on the cake, right? But a lot of women have been over-sexualized, and in this very hyper-sexualized world, if you have a certain body type, it's hard to find people who really like you, because you can't really distinguish between someone who really loves you for who you are and someone who just likes your body, who just likes your exterior, or who just likes your, how do they say it in French, derrière? I don't know. Who just likes your, Africanness. Oh my God. Another thing that I would say is a contributor to the curse of the pretty girl, to the pretty girl problems, or one of the pretty girl problems, is that people think you don't have problems because you're fine. I don't know how people make this stuff up, because they're like, you're too pretty to be broke. I heard that a lot when I was single. People like, a fine girl like you, why are you broke? Fine girl like you, how come you don't have money? Fine girl like you, how come they are breaking your heart? Fine girl like you, how come? People just feel like because you're pretty, then you're immune to problems. They just expect that, oh, everything will be rosy for you simply because you're attractive, which is funny because when Jesus Christ said, in this world you have many problems, he didn't say except the good looking, attractive, gorgeous people. It's like, in this world you have troubles, you have trials and tribulations. You are not exempt from the problems of the world simply because you're fine. That's a weird thing to believe. But I've also heard people say, I'm too beautiful to be going through this. I don't understand. What do you mean by that? People say stuff like, I'm too gorgeous to be stressed. Girl, look, in this world, you will have trials and tribulations. And those trials don't care if you're attractive, if you are gorgeous, if you are the most beautiful woman in the world. You will have problems. So it's a funny it's a funny mentality to have on the side of the other people of people, and the side of even the attractive person, herself. You are simply just, you are living in a fantasy if you think that being beautiful exempts you from problems. No. So if you're one of those people that has that mentality, this is me just waking you up now. Get out of your head. Get out of your head. You're not exempt from troubles and problems simply because you're beautiful. Of course, being attractive has its perks, because there are people who will just like you and who will just favor you because you are attractive. There are opportunities that you will get, and in all honesty, there are opportunities you will get simply because you are attractive. There are certain things people will just like you just because you are attractive. So this is not me saying that it doesn't have its perks or its privileges, but you are the Lulu if you think that you will not have problems, or you're not supposed to have problems because you're beautiful. And you're also the Lulu if you think that attractive people don't have problems simply because they're attractive. Another problem that attractive people face is that people think that simply because you are attractive, you won't have romantic problems. That's not true. In fact, I dare say, I don't have any scientific data to back this up, but I dare say that the more attractive you are, the more you're likely to have problems in your romantic life. Like, the more you're likely to go through heartbreak. Because there are people who won't simply trust you because you're beautiful, and because because of their own self-esteem problems. A lot of guys might feel like you have a lot of options, or you have a lot of men throwing themselves at you, and so it might make them feel insecure. So you are more likely to date people who are very insecure, and who feel like any man who talks to you is trying to take you away or trying to snatch you or things like that. And you're also more likely to date people who don't really like you like that. They just like you because you suit their profile. Not like they really like you as a person, but just because, when they go out with you, their friends hail them like, guy, how did you land such a girl? Like, it's an ego boost to them. You are an ego boost to them, right? And so because of that, in fact, the more attractive you are, the harder it is. Honestly, that's what I think. Like, the harder it is for you to find people who really genuinely like you, because a lot of times you just meet these insecure men and men who have issues with their own self-esteem. And finally, one of the problems pretty or attractive women face is that it is hard to find genuine friends. And for a lot of attractive people, there are people who decide to be friends with them simply because they look good, and simply because they feel like, if they hang out with you, they it makes hanging out with you makes them look good too. Right. So on one hand, there are people who just want to hang out with you because you make them look good. And there are people who decide not to hang out with you because they feel like hanging out with you makes them look less attractive and reduces their chances of meeting people, or reduces their chances of getting male attention. So yeah, both ways. And it's funny because yeah, it's funny that this happens to a lot of people, but it's the reality. This is the reality for a lot of attractive women and men possibly, right? So anyway, that's what I wanted to share today. If I've experienced any of this pretty girl problems, put it in the comments. I want to hear what it's been like for you. I want to hear some of the things that you've been through. I want to hear some of the situations that you have experienced as a result of being an attractive person. And if you're a guy, you can also, let us know what your experience has been. I would love to hear from you. Anyway, so that's what I just wanted to jump on here to share. I hope you found this fun, insightful, valuable. And if you know anyone who you think might find this valuable as well, do well to share it with them. Okay, on that note, thank you so much for listening to this episode if you're listening to it. And thank you for watching if you are watching this on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed already. And do hit that notification bell so that you are notified whenever I have a new video up. All right. Thank you so very much. And I'll see you again in my next video. Bye-bye.